everyone, welcome to our webinar. My name is Andrew Townsend. I'm the campaign marketing manager here with eLearning Brothers. Today, our session is going to be about finding your happy during work, a pandemic, and the holidays. This is going to be a great session, and I think you guys will all enjoy it. This session will be recorded. We will send a copy of it out to everybody who has registered. So if you need to check out early, we'll be able to get that to you later in the day via email. This will be a slightly shorter session. We're going to make sure that we take space at the end for questions. We're sure that there's going to be conversation afterwards, so do expect that, and we'll probably hold on to some questions till the end. If you have questions during this webinar, don't hesitate to ask them when you have them, though, so that they're fresh in your mind. There's a questions panel there in your GoToWebinar control panel. Please do use that, and we'll get to as many of those questions as we can. All right, so we have a fantastic guest with us today. We've got Beth Thomas, the CEO and founder of Change for Growth and the author of the book Powered by Happy. Thanks, Beth, for joining us. We're excited to hear what you have to share. And without further ado, I'm going to pass the screen over to you.
Thank you so much, Andrew. And hello, everybody. Happy holidays. I am so excited to be here with my friends at eLearning Brothers. It has been a long time since they've been my friends, so I'm excited to be here along for the ride. But I will tell you, this is one time that we all need a little bit of happy. There has been so many things going on and so many challenges in our society and in our communities, at work, at home. And I just hope for the next 30 or 40 minutes that I can bring you a few tips that you can take home and you can enjoy on how to be happier at work, at home, during the holidays, and during the pandemic. So let's get started. I want to start with some tips, excuse me, on how people find happiness at work during the holidays. And on to you, Andrew.
Okay, people, tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., Santa's coming to town.
Santa! Oh, my God! Santa here? I know him. I know him. Wait. I'm singing. I'm in a store and I'm singing. I'm in a store and I'm singing.
Hey! There's no singing in the North Pole.
Yes, there is.
No, it's not.
We sing all the time.
No, it's not.
Especially when we make toys.
My dad is Santa Claus.
Oh boy. I think what he means is I'm like Santa Claus. We're both giving, we're both jolly, and we both work very hard one day a year.
It's the one night of the year when we all act a little nicer, we smile a little easier, we share a little more. For a couple of hours out of the whole year, we are the people that we always hoped we would be.
There's enough left over. I'm going to fly you all down here to help us dedicate it.
I can't swim, Clark.
I know that, Eddie. Hey. Oh. Hey.
Oh. Clark, what's wrong? Honey? It's bigger than you expected? Smaller? What is it?
It's a one-year membership in the Jelly of the Month Club.
Oh, God.
Clark, it's the gift that keeps on giving the whole year.
That it is, Edward. That it is indeed.
Number 2.
There's room for everyone on the nice list.
Number 3.
The best way to spread Christmas cheer is singing loud for all to hear.
Love those movies.
So hopefully you all enjoyed the movies, and they are some of my favorites. But really, what we wanted to tell you is when you have a culture, it's really three things that are tying it all together, and that's the passion that you have for what you do. It's the alignment that you have with the leadership company and the vision of the organization, and it's how your leaders are leading during this time. It's a really difficult time the companies are having, and it was hard to engage your employees before, let alone during a pandemic and during a virtual workforce. Many of you, I'm sure, are working virtually. Some are probably loving it. Some probably aren't loving it too much. So really, to become a great place to work, it's about the passion, the alignment, and the leadership, and that creates that great culture we're all looking to be a part of. So today we're going to go through our agenda as follows. We're going to go through some engagement, some facts, the good, the bad, and the ugly as it relates to engagement at work. We're going to talk a little bit about what makes you happy and how you truly can define happiness at work. We're going to talk about some of the tips from my book on how you can be happy not only at work but at home. And then we're going to switch to what do we do during a holiday and a pandemic at the same time, and how do we stay sane and find those silver linings. So here's some of the facts. 29%, only 29% of employees are actively engaged and passionate about what they do. 54% are disengaged, and 17% are actively disengaged. Now, what does that mean? That actually means they're the ones that are acting out. They're the ones that are sabotaging. They're the negative people that are walking around and they're toxic to your culture. And they're the ones that bring us all down. So these facts were from about a year ago. So I did a quick peek on what are the current statistics after we've gone through the pandemic, or as we're going through the pandemic, I should say. And a 2020 Gallup study shows that now 85% of employees are not engaged in their work, and 81% are looking for another job. This is really disheartening, and I'm sure many of you either feel that way or have felt that way in the past. And I was talking to Andrew before we started the video, and one of the things we talked about is the importance of having good leadership during this time and really being able to communicate the vision of the organization, the value that you add to the organization, and really how the future looks for your company so you can look at your organization as, you know, a stable entity, one that you want to be a part of, one that you align with and have passion around. And that's why a lot of the disengagement happens is there's not a lot of communication. The people aren't feeling valued. They don't understand the line of sight to the vision of the organization, or they don't even feel there is a vision in the organization. They can't not only align to it, but they can't buy into it. So I think this is where the challenge comes when we start looking at employee engagement. And 85% of the employees that are not engaged is staggering and really, you know, challenging for many, many companies right now. And so the good is for the 15% that are engaged is Harvard Business Review and many others talk about the fact that when you have happy employees, when you have positive culture, you have productive workplaces. Many of you probably heard the saying, happy associates are productive associates. That is true and on point for employee engagement as well. So when you create that positive and inspiring and engaging culture, that not only retains your top talent, but it attracts the right kind of talent that you want as part of your organization. And this doesn't just start by creating that culture. It starts with the person that you hire. So when you're hiring people, when you're hiring colleagues, when you're interviewing people, you want to make sure that there's somebody that's going to fit within your culture. Because if they aren't, and they just may have the skill set, they could have a real toxic behavior that's going to bring down your culture and your engagement statistics. So what's the bad? Why are we concerned about this? Well, there's a real reason and a real epidemic with disengaged employees. And not only is it a challenge to be part of those cultures, but it's costing our companies billions of dollars every single year in lost productivity. The last Gallup poll I looked at, it was 400 to 600 billion, and sometimes up to 750 billion, depending on the industries that you create and put as part of the survey. But each year, that money is lost in productivity and higher turnover and diminished business success. So that 81% of people that are looking for another job, do you think they're giving it their all? Do you think that they're really giving that discretionary effort that helps employees be engaged? They're not. And therefore, it hurts the productivity, it hurts your customer engagement, it hurts your sales, your bottom line, hurts your company. And this is one of the reasons why many companies are struggling today. But also realize that you have a piece and a responsibility in part of this, as part of this, because it's up to you to become engaged as well. So if you are feeling disengaged, what can you do about it? We're going to talk about some of the tips you can do, but understand that if you aren't engaged and you're toxic and negative, you could be one of the first people that go when they do downsize or right size the organization. So understand that your leadership is probably looking at people right now, especially who are not only going to add value to the organization, but are going to have the right attitude and engagement to create that positive culture that's going to increase your bottom line. And the ugly. So there's lots of reasons why people leave their jobs. And I know number one reason is people leave because of their boss. So 80% of people leave their boss, not their company. And a lot of people quit and then they stay, if you know what I mean. But those are the people that are disengaged. But there are lots of reasons why people quit their job. And these are just a few of the ones that we've seen. So it's terrible bosses. It's no opportunity for advancement, a wrong culture fit. When I coach people and talk about how do you find that perfect job, I always tell them interview the company as much as they're interviewing you, because it's so important that it's a fit to what you're looking for from a style perspective, from a values perspective, an ethics perspective, how the vision is, alignment. Are you passionate about the industry, about the work that you do, about the people that you work with? These are all really important factors to why people are happy at work. So when you don't have that, you're not happy at work. But there's lots of different reasons why people quit their job. And right now, I know a lot of people are feeling overworked because we're doing more with less. And when you do more with less, there's a lot more workload that has to be spread around. And you can really have that feeling of being overworked and have that lack of recognition, because your bosses are probably just as overworked as well. And when they are, the first thing that goes is really recognizing the good work that their employees are doing, because they're so focused on just getting things done. So you really want to make sure, if these are some of the reasons that you're contemplating leaving your job, is there something that you can do about it? Can you take control of your destiny and really try to fix some of the problems? Now, there's a lot of times you're going to work for a boss who may be a jerk, and you're not going to be able to change them. So you've got to make the decision whether you leave because of that, or whether you find other things within your job that make you happy. But at the end of the day, you've got to really define how you're engaged or not engaged at work and what you can do about it. Now, the positive psychology of happiness really talks about those folks that are the glass is half empty or the glass is half full. I am the glass is half full kind of person. I'm always giving people the benefit of the doubt. I try to really look at the bright things and the good things and the positive things before I go negative. Now, 50% of that is our DNA, and 50% is by choice. So every morning that you wake up, are you waking up on the right side of the bed or on the wrong side of the bed? And a lot of people like to start their mornings with a gratitude journal, which I think is really fabulous. And Sean Anker from Harvard, is actually the one who wrote the book, The Happiness Advantage, and talks about the importance of happiness and gratitude. So writing down 3 things you're grateful for every single morning really helps you understand how gratefulness can contribute to your mood and how you're going to be happy that day. Also, Goldie Hawn Foundation, they have a foundation which shows the importance of happiness in children and how happy children become successful adults. So it all goes back to really the power and psychology of happiness is not just a trite thing. This is something that is really helping people move ahead. It's helping them get promoted. It's helping them get chosen for a job, because nobody wants to hire somebody that's negative, that it has a bad attitude, that's not a team player, that's not going to be able to delight your customers. They're going to hire those people that are happy, team players, that are have the ability to engage your clients, your other associates, even do extra work for your team, be a volunteer, because those happy employees help create the culture that outperform your competition by 20%. But all of these things are tied together, and really it's tied to your DNA for 50%, and that other 50% is a choice. So we think about, how do we achieve happiness? Working long hours doesn't define success. Some of you may work for organizations where the amount of hours equals how successful you are. I don't buy into that. I tell my folks, I don't care if you work from the moon, as long as you're getting your job done. And if you can do it in 30 hours, God bless you, that's awesome. But being engaged, happiness, and passionate and feeling valued is how you achieve success. And if you're not feeling that where you are today, then maybe you should be one of the 81% looking for where you can feel that way, where you can feel valued, where you can feel engaged with the type of company that you're working for. But you have to dedicate time and focus on it. So many people want to be happy, and yet they don't know what happiness means to them, and they also don't know how to achieve it. They don't dedicate time and focus on it. If you want to get in shape, then you exercise and you eat better. If you want to lose weight, you eat healthier. And if you want to perform a different skill or develop yourself, then you work hard on taking a class or gaining additional experiences. It's the same thing about being happy. If you want to be happy, then you have to focus time and dedicate a plan to it. But the first step is defining what happiness means to you. And, I will speak in front of hundreds of people. And when I do, I ask them the question, how many of you have ever sat down and defined what happiness means to you? And out of 500 people, I may get 10% that raise their hand. And sometimes as low as 1%, I get a few hands. And to me, that's crazy, because I ask the question, how many of you want to be happy? Everybody raises their hand, and yet nobody ever sits down and writes what happiness means to them. And that's one of the first exercises in my book, Powered by Happy, is really sit down and define what happiness means to you. But understand that it's unique and it's different for everyone. So there is no right or wrong answer, and it changes as you evolve in your career and in your life. So when I got out of school, I thought I wanted the corner office, a vice president title, and an assistant. I wanted to make 6 figures. Now it's about, how do I work the least amount of time? So, you really have to constantly evaluate what makes you happy and what's going to make you happy at work, and how do you go after it. For me, what makes me happy is my family. And also my dog. This is Louis Vuitton. And I love retail. So my kids are named Tiffany and Madison, and my dog is Louis Vuitton. And my dog before him was Neiman Marcus, that we had to put down a few years ago. But I'll tell you what, the people who are getting pandemic puppies, it's worth every penny, because they are so good for your mental health and for therapy. That is one thing that I highly recommend. And then these are some of my teammates, and let me tell you, I have never been so proud of a team that has been able to stay positive and stay engaged and give that discretionary effort. Whether I'm asking for it or not, they are 100% on it and always willing and happy to take on anything that's been asked of them. And they truly make me want to come to work every day, and they are the best team. So I am so appreciative of them, and they have made this pandemic really easy for me to be a leader through it, because they have been so helpful and engaged. And during this pandemic, I'm really proud to say we won Best Places to Work, which I'm really excited about, but it's because of these people right here. So we're going to flip to a little bit of just some of the tips that I have in my book on how to have create tips to being happy at work. So the first one, like I said, is creating your own definition of happiness, truly writing it down and understanding that it could be your definition for, honestly, December 2020. It could change in March of 2020, depending on your situation. So always understand that it can evolve with every stage of your life. And especially, I'm pretty sure people that have written their definition of happiness has probably changed in the last year. I think what we define as happiness has probably become much simpler, like being able to go out with friends and sit at a restaurant table with 10 people or more. So I think that I'm sure it's had a lot of changes. So some of the top tips we have is, number one is create a wish list. And, this is like many of you may have a Franklin planner that's really old. I'm showing my age, but you have a to-do list and, your calendar, and you check off everything that you get done. Well, wish list is something that's much happier. It's like a bucket list, but you're not going to die. And it's really about planning for your happiness. So what are those things that make you happy? If you think about like planning for a vacation, just the anticipation up to when you leave is so exciting. You're planning your trip, you're thinking about the fun things you're going to do. Just that one, that one bullet makes you excited about going on vacation. Scheduling lunch with friends. Be realistic. Don't talk about your wish list is to win the lottery, because most of us aren't going to win the lottery. Every time you check off something on your to-do list, reward yourself with something from your I wish list. Always weave that into your day. So if you guys are like me and have Zoom meetings from 8 to 5 every single day, I hope that in the evening you are finding time to binge watch Netflix, to have a glass of wine, to chat up with your friends. Just find something where you're able to really find that happiness. I know during this pandemic, there's been lots of, great pieces of advice from mental health experts. And I just read an article today, and some of the ones they talked about was, making a routine and sticking to it, setting low expectations so you're always exceeding them, making time to go outside, ditch some of your video calls. Sometimes it's hard to be on all day, getting extra sleep, connecting with friends. I know some of my friends from school, we have FaceTime, chats, and we all get together, and just seeing their faces, something we've never done before, but it brings us really a lot of happiness. But you got to plan these things out. So create that wish list. I talked a little bit about the power of gratitude. Doing a gratitude journal every day and writing down the things that you are grateful for will stop you from being negative. It'll stop you from being unhappy, because it's impossible to be happy and unhappy at the same time. And if you have that power of gratitude and you're writing down those things that you're grateful for, it doesn't give you the opportunity to be upset. It doesn't give you the opportunity to think about everything that's wrong. You've got to think about the things that are going right in your life, because I'm sure you can all pick one or two things, even during this pandemic, that were maybe your silver linings that you're grateful for. And that's what I would challenge you during this holiday season, is really thinking of those things and where you are grateful. Because I know a lot of people that are going through, a lot of pain and suffering. And during the holidays, it's a really difficult time. So this is time where you want to reach out and give. This is time where you want to see somebody that might be struggling and just lend them a hand, whether it's money or time or a small gift, whether it's praying for them, just really being able to shower somebody with love, and that will help you be grateful in your own life for all the things that you are blessed with. So, when you have that gratitude, it really helps you transform negative events, and it stops them and from becoming stronger, and it stops the feeling of unhappiness, and it allows you to focus on positive things, and those positive things will manifest because if you put things out there that are positive, they're going to happen. If you put things out that are negative, and if you are a negative person, sometimes that draws in negative energy. So feeling the gratitude from others is also something that really helps you be grateful. And I'm going to talk a little bit about doing good for others is the number one thing that contributes to long-term sustainable happiness. So I did a lot of research when I wrote my book, and this was the number one thing for long-term sustainable happiness is helping others. And what a time to do that during this season. I just saw on TV today that we are over 20 million pounds of food that we've given more in the National Food Pantry than we did last year at this time. They used to, I know our local food pantry, they used to serve 200 to 300 families a day. It's up to 1,000 a day, and these are people that have really fallen on hard times. So, that is the number one thing. How can you help? So during the holidays, it's a great opportunity. Minimizing negative thoughts. This is really important because I don't know if any of you are worrywarts, but I am. And I wrote a chapter on how 70% of things we worry about never come true. And yet I still worry. You've got to master your stories. There's a great book and a workshop called Crucial Conversations, and there's a philosophy around mastering your stories. And it's great because it's about dealing with fact, not fiction. So many times if people look at us funny, if they write us an email that is in bold or caps or periods instead of exclamation points, we make assumptions and we make up stories in our mind that actually are not true. And those assumptions and stories can really cause us a lot of pain. It can cause us a lot of frustration, and we worry about those things. So you've got to stop those negative thoughts in your head, and you can use cognitive therapy, which is really every time that you have a negative thought come in your head, which is probably a story that you have made up, stop and number one, think, is it fact or fiction? And number two, give them the benefit of the doubt or give the situation the benefit of the doubt. And when you start thinking of the positive things rather than negative things, after 2 or 3 weeks, you're starting to train your mind to go towards that glass is half full rather than glass is half empty. It's not too late to start new habits. Making a high yield happiness investment. I just talked about this. It's about helping others be successful. So in your own company, what colleagues can you help? What direct reports, if you have them, can you help? What managers can you help? It's really going out and volunteering for work that may not be on your docket to do. And that is showing your leadership team that you're engaged. You want to give the discretionary effort. You might be the first one to get promoted if you do that, but they're watching those type of activities, and rewarding and recognizing is not just for supervisor to employee or direct report. You can do it to your peers. You can do it to your supervisors, your managers. Everybody appreciates understanding the value that they bring to the organization. Paying it forward. How many of you have ever done a random act of kindness? I was at Tim Hortons probably about 5 years ago. I was going through the drive-thru. My daughter was in the car, who was a competition cheerleader, and I said, I'd like to pay for the person behind me. And my daughter looked at me, teenager, she's like, what are you doing? I said, I just want to pay for the person behind me. Why? Just because it's something kind to do. And I did that, and she looked in the rearview mirror and she said, oh my gosh, Mom, she's crying. And I said, doesn't that make you feel good knowing that we brought her to tears, hopefully of joy? And about a month after I did that, I was speaking at Nationwide Insurance to the leadership team, and I was talking about, my book and about how to engage your employees, and I told them this story, and a woman came up to me afterwards and she said, was that the Tim Hortons in Westerville where I live? And I said, yes. Was it on a Sunday? Yes. Was it a white van? Yes. Was it about a month ago? Yes. She said, that was my sister on her way to her first chemotherapy appointment. And she said, after you did that, that was a sign that she needed that everything was going to be okay. And, it just brought me to the book, The 5 People You Meet When You Get to Heaven. It's about doing random acts of kindness, to people when they need it, and especially now when they need it, whether they're suffering from the pandemic or somebody that they're close to has suffered or died from the pandemic, and just the loneliness and sadness that we experience during the holidays. This is the time to make that high yield happiness investment. And like I said, it will help you be happy when you help others. Scheduling happiness. I talked a little bit about this, not just keeping a work schedule from 9 to 5, but how are you going to schedule those things that bring you happiness? Whether it's happy hour with friends, and now you can do it virtually, and some of you can do it in person. Whether it's scheduling a vacation, whether it is doing philanthropic work, whether it's helping the Ronald McDonald House or building a Habitat for Humanity house, whether it's adopting a rescue dog. Find things that are going to make you happy and do them. So schedule it just like you do scheduling a meeting in your calendar. Focus on it, work on it, dedicate time to it, but make a weekly me commitment. So you really have to schedule time around what's making you happy and find that time to do it. It's as important, if not more important, than the work that you're getting done. Because when you learn how to balance between work and life, and when you learn how to balance, bringing in that happiness and scheduling those things that make you happy, you'll perform better at work. Because when you're burnt out, when you're not taking those breaks, when you're not going outside, when you're not taking those me events on a daily basis, you're going to burn out, and that's not good for anybody. Laughing. One of my favorite things to do, I literally laugh at everybody, probably at the most inappropriate times. I laugh when people fall down. It's terrible. I laugh at church when, people are in church and doing funny things. I mean, it's always at the most inappropriate times, but I think this is a problem that I have. But it's really healthy to laugh. And laughing is a natural way to exercise. It reduces level of stress, controls your blood pressure, it improves your memory and mood. I mean, whoever is, in a bad mood when they're laughing. So really, that's why it's important to build relationships with people that you work with, and especially when you're working with them virtually, turn on those cameras. Tell them a funny meme that you've seen, and I'm going to show you my favorite holiday memes in a minute. But, don't take life so seriously. This is a time where we have to, get to know each other on a personal level, especially those that you work with. Tell them a great joke you've heard. Tell them a funny story. But it really does help create that enjoyable culture at work. We have a happiness committee, and our happiness committee does group philanthropic work. We feed the homeless. We go to the Ronald McDonald House, and we cook for the residents. We actually put together bags of food for our food pantry. So we have a snack drawer. We have tons of snacks. We have great drinks in our refrigerator. We have team happy hours, potlucks. Now, a lot of this you can't do, but there's no reason why you can't have a virtual happy hour, or even like a potluck where you're all showing the food that you're eating. Hanging with a gang that gets it. This is so critically important because your peers can drag you down or lift you up. So you really have to evaluate who are the people that I am surrounding myself with. Are they lifting me up or are they bringing me down? Many of you may have heard your parents say it's guilt by association. Well, guess what? It's guilt by association at work too. So if you're hanging around the town crier, the negative Nelly, or the person who's always complaining around the water cooler, if your leadership team or anyone else sees you do that, they're going to assume you're the same way. So you really want to focus on surrounding yourself with people that lift you up, that motivate you, that inspire you, people that you want to emulate and be like. I don't think anybody wants to be like a negative person, but a way to do this is create a board of directors and tell them about some of the things that you're trying to improve upon. And that board of directors will be able to give you feedback, whether you're in a meeting and you might say, I want to be a better listener, and they are going to be able to give you feedback on how you're listening. It could be building relationships, and they can give you feedback about how to build relationships. But surround yourself with really great people and understand how you're perceived by others. I would challenge all of you to go up to your close circle of friends and say, on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy do you think I am? And that's going to tell you a lot, because happiness, sometimes we believe we're much happier, we appear much happier than we are. You know, I ask people, and a lot of times they'll say 11, and my husband will say she's annoyingly happy. But there's a lot of people who ask folks, hey, how happy do you think I am? And they're like, I don't know, like a 2 or 3, and you're sitting there thinking you're an 8 or 9. So that's a problem. I talk a little bit about law of attraction. Positive people attract positive experiences. I believe it's true. And then I talked about how laughing is contagious, and so are things like positivity and drive. So surround yourself with those people. It's new year getting ready to start. I want you to evaluate who you're hanging out with personally and professionally, and then think about, who do you need to ditch in your gang? Who do you need to add to your gang to make sure they're motivating and inspiring you and not bringing you down? I love this. You are the average of 5 people you spend the most time with. So look around, see who you're spending time with, and see if you're proud of that. And then, what do you do when your world as you know it has been turned upside down? COVID happened. How many of you thought this was going to be 2 weeks? I did. And we're going on our 10th month. I mean, it's crazy. So how do we get through it? We're still not through it, but hopefully we are almost to the end and then beyond. But, you know, this has been a journey that we've never seen in our lifetime. So if you want to remain powered by happy, or if you even want to get powered by happy, because you could maybe not be powered by happy right now, here's a few tips that you can do. Create a personal reentry plan. Think about going back to work. Many of you probably even haven't gone back to work yet. Many of you may not even know when you're going back to work. Whether it's going back to work or whether it's just starting fresh in 2020, create a reentry plan on things like, is this what I want to do? Am I engaged? What's going to help my engagement? What's making me unhappy at work and how do I fix it? What can make me happier at work and how do I fix it? Nobody's telling you not to go after what you want. This is where I challenge you to take control of your destiny and really make the changes that you want in order to be happy at work. Talk to your managers, talk to your bosses, you know, talk to your colleagues about what you want to do to better yourself, what you want to do to, you know, better your chances for promotion. Ask your boss things like, if in 6 months you were to come back to me and say, Beth, you've done an amazing job, what would I have accomplished? That's your roadmap to success. So really spend this time to evaluate where you are from an engagement perspective, from a happiness perspective, and then create a plan on what are you going to do to fix it. Be present in understanding your feelings and really allow yourself the time to sometimes be sad or frustrated, but also what are you going to do to get out of that funk? You don't want to stay in that for long. So you want to find those people around you that are going to help you. And then review all areas of your life. So like I said, you know, whether it is professional, spiritual, health-wise, or social, what are the silver linings and what are the areas that you need to improve upon? I talked about helping others and taking control of your destiny, all things that are important to get you through. Now we have the holidays. So we've gone through 9 or 10 months of the pandemic. Some people are in second shutdown. I know the UK is. How do we keep sane and spread the happiness and cheer along the way? Well, here's some of my favorite holiday themes. Take a minute to look through them. I will tell you my favorite's the one in the middle because I think so many people want to travel and that so looks like he's in an airplane. So I know, if one of you want to screenshot this and play a joke on your friends, I think you should. Or you know what? You could play a joke on your boss and just tell him, hey, I'm on my way to X, Y, and Z, and sayonara. Okay, so how do you spread happiness and holiday cheer during COVID? Number one, plan some fun. We've done so many Airbnb experiences. They are so super cool and not so expensive, but I've done virtual cooking classes from Italy. We've done drink classes like making your own cocktail. We did a wine tasting from Napa. We did the pandemic in Prague, which was, oh my gosh, so cool. You literally are walking through Prague. But there we did like how do you make your own makeup? They have virtual escape rooms, virtual white elephant gift exchange. I don't know about all of you, but I'm having all virtual Christmas parties. So as much as I am not a big fan of that, and as much as I really don't want to have a virtual party, it's just where we are right now. So I'm going to make the best of it. Giving back, there's probably every single day I see a new charity that I want to give to, and whether it's $5 or $10 or $100 or whatever you can give, and it doesn't need to be money. You can give to the food pantry. You can write letters to our servicemen and women, and then recognize. I mean, how many times have you heard people saying about their performance review? Wasn't about the 3% raise I got. It was the handwritten attaboys that I got, or, really talking about the value that I add to the organization. So if you're a leader, write personal notes to your team. I remember when I got my first personal note from our CEO, I was like, wow, really made an impact. But take time on your next Zoom call to recognize your peers, your colleagues, your direct reports, or your bosses. And then finally, finding the silver linings during the holidays. I think this is a time to really sit back and, like I said, create that gratitude journal. Write down 3 things that you're grateful for every single day and see how it changes your mindset, because your mindset is so important when you're focusing on how to be happy, not only at work, but at home, and how to be engaged. There's a lot we can do to become more engaged, but at the end of the day, you have to take control of your destiny, take some of these tips and make it happen. But increase quality time spent with loved ones. I know that I have spent so much time with my 2 daughters, and I've loved every minute of it. We have spent a lot more time as family because we've been kind of sheltered and home together. And, we've created fun things to do, like the Airbnb virtual experiences. The evolution of shopping habits. I don't know about you, but I shop on Instagram every single day. My daughter calls me the biggest Instagram sucker that ever lived. I literally buy cat food for a cat that I don't even have because, I love the marketing and branding of it. So there's a lot of fun that's to be had around the different types of ways we can shop. Appreciate what's in your backyard. So I remember somebody telling me something so simple of appreciate the things that you have. Don't think about the things that you don't have. So focus on that. Drive-in movies coming back, Airbnbs to the virtual experiences, restaurants sharing their secret recipes, which, that absolutely contributes to the COVID-19 weight gain. So I was talking to Andrew about the fact that I'm on Zoom calls from 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock, and then I'm too tired to exercise. So, the COVID-19 weight is a real thing, but restaurants are sharing secret recipes. So I've been cooking a lot as well. I think this also has given us the ability to shrink our world. We have clients that are in the UK, and things that I used to have to fly over there for, I can just do by Zoom. So there are a lot of great things that I think are really going to come out of this pandemic. We're all becoming experts. Tiger King somehow connected us, which is sad. And we learned that homeschooling is hard, and finally recognizing how wonderful teachers are and how much we should be paying them. But think about what's your silver linings. So that's all I have for you today. I hope you found a couple tips that you can really reflect upon in order to bring you more happiness at work and create more engagement with your job, because I'd hate for any of you to be part of those statistics that are alarmingly high. But I wish you all a very, very happy holiday, and I'll take some questions.
Wonderful. Thank you, Beth. One of the questions that's popped up here, and you gave some examples, but what are some fun and effective ways that you've seen companies, as you've been working with them, reach out to their employees? You had mentioned, notes of appreciation, things like
Yep.
that. What are some others? You had also mentioned the holiday parties that are all
Yeah.
digital, but we're looking for more ideas.
Yeah, so a couple things that I've seen and that we personally do, actually, because I stole it from somebody, which I'm a big believer in stealing good ideas, is we sent our employees this year we sent them a $100 gift card, and $50 was for them to go buy themselves a Christmas gift. And part of our virtual Christmas party is they have to share with everybody what that Christmas gift was. And then the other $50 was go buy yourself your favorite cocktail or your favorite beverage, and also your favorite snack, and share it with us as well. So our Christmas party is not only going to be everybody sharing a gift that they purchased, but also their favorite beverage and maybe something either that they cooked or something that they purchased. And then we're doing the ugly Christmas sweater. And, you know, I also have seen folks sending out, like I had a board meeting and we sent everybody on the board a bottle of their favorite wine and an antipasta platter, a charcuterie board. So everybody was able to enjoy a virtual happy hour. So, you know, those are some of the things that you can do. I've seen a lot of teams do the virtual Airbnb experiences together. They're cooking together. There's magic shows that they can do together that are super cool. They've done the war rooms or the escape rooms virtually. So, and that creates a lot of team building as well. But there's so many things that you can do virtually, and I never had any ideas, but we're just trying to get as creative as possible. And those are some of the great ones that I've seen.
Awesome. You had mentioned a course that helps you find your story. Can you remind us where to find that?
Yes, it's Crucial Conversations, and it is a leadership course and book, and it's called Mastering Your Stories. It is I think a chapter within the book and within the workshop, and it really is powerful when you think about just the philosophy behind it, because when you start to understand it, you realize how much you do it. You know, when you're walking down the hallway, well, we don't really do that anymore, but say when you go back to work, you're walking down the hallway and somebody doesn't look at you, they don't say good morning, they roll their eyes, you know, something. We absolutely make up stories in our head, and it's things that we worry about sometimes for a long time.
Very, very true. You're the author of a book. Where can we get that book? Remind us about the title of that book.
Yes, it's called Powered by Happy, How to Get and Stay Happy at Work, and it's on Amazon.
Excellent. It looks like we don't have any more questions, so thanks for everybody for attending. Thanks, Beth Thomas, for this great presentation. This has been phenomenal. We all learned a lot, and we hope everybody has a great holiday and great rest of the year.
Happy holidays, everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye.